Hi everyone, Bethany and Franklin here. We are hanging out, and with Thanksgiving right around the corner, I realized I don't have an outfit for this little guy. So today I'm going to show you how to do layering HTV on a onesie. So let me get the camera set up and we will get going. So I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space, and originally I thought I still had brown HTV, but it looks like I am completely out. So I'm going to change that color to the green instead, give it a little bit of contrast instead of everything being mostly orange. And in order to attach these two so they cut together, you have to ungroup the pumpkin cutout first, and then you can select both the text and the top, attach. You don't have to weld. If you want to weld, it'll do the same effect when they're not connected to each other. And then grabbing the whole project and grouping it together. Now we are going to go ahead and make it. And once Cricut Design Space has loaded the cuts, you want to make sure you select mirror for the HTV for both. And then I'm going to move this down here because I'm being lazy. I'll admit it. And you'll see why in a moment. So you can see here I have my HTV. It's already very well cut into. Sometimes I do this as a cheater way to use as much of the HTV on the roll as possible. Don't mind the baby crying. And so I'm going to double check my points. My highest point is at about 2 inches and 5 inches. So 2 down, 5 across. So yes, that'll be covered. And then making sure that the furthest length, which is about 6 inches down, yep, so that should be covered too. So off screen, I loaded and I cut and weeded these. This is a crappy vinyl, and this was my original design for this project, and you can tell that it did not work well. So I had to change my design. I used something I already had designed as well. So this works just the same. And I'm going to show you how we can put both colors down at the same time. So let me weed this one and I'll be right back. So now that we have everything weeded, I'm going to show you how I cut this down. Sometimes when you're layering HTV and the HTV goes on top of each other, it doesn't matter as much, but sometimes I like to sneak in multiple presses in one, meaning doing both colors at the same time, especially if there's a little bit of an edge. So I'm going to pre-place this here. So while the heat press is warming up, I like to take the press and just do that pre-press. It's usually about 5 seconds. Sometimes I do it a little bit more if I have more wrinkles that I like to get rid of before I start pressing. And I have this little t-shirt guide I got off of Amazon. We're going to use this just to kind of help me center the design. It's not always exact, but it kind of gives me an idea. I usually like to find an equal point of the arm seams versus trying to figure it out in the middle here, just because the arm seams are going to be a little bit more accurate. We're going to keep this at center, double check our lines on the side. For baby onesies, about 1 inch down is okay, 2 is alright too. There's no exact, I know people like to say, well, it should be this or it should be that. I am more of the schooling of just eyeball it. If it looks off, and change it. If it doesn't look off, then it should be good to go. And let's add my first Thanksgiving. Try to make that as even as possible and straight as possible. If you're ever doubting if it's straight, find a solid edge, line it up to that, same way. A little crooked. Now it's fixed. Alright. Then you want to make sure that the carrier sheet isn't between any HTV. So I'm going to take some of this heat resistant tape and tape it together. And the problem is it's not grabbing what I wanted it to grab. It is definitely a make it work kind of day. This orange HTV is definitely not something I'm going to use again. I already put some orange HTV in my cart from 143 Vinyl, and it will hopefully be here soon, but for today's video, I'm going to just continue the struggle. I'm adding a little bit more of the heat resistant tape, which I also got off of Amazon. Came with Teflon sheets that I purchased last Black Friday already. That's how long ago I got it. Alright, so now that we have that all put together, our heat press is completely warmed up. And it's at 315 for 30 seconds, medium to firm pressure. And I like to keep the cord facing me because then I know where it is at all times and it's not catching on something. Alright, almost done. And because I'm using mixed vinyl, I'm going to do about a 10-second press from behind, just because neither of them are the same brand. I want to just double check that. And for this press on the back side, I'm going to just keep moving to make sure it's firmed up really well. And that's all I'm going to do. Now, this is technically a cool press, but I can't wait. So, we're going, a cool peel, but I can't wait. Especially because, yep, those letters are not down. I had a suspicion about it. The letters are a completely different vinyl. The cheaper vinyl, I think, has a lesser, lesser heat press time. So I have my Teflon sheet out, and I'm going to just press the lower end for a little bit longer. I'm moving it while I do that, just to make sure it grips a little bit better. And then I'll do the same thing for the higher end. Because I don't want to get too much into that center part, because that center part looks great. And then I'll just do one final press just to get the impressions of the t-shirt, the onesie material through to that vinyl. Now I'm going to take the carrier sheet off. Voila, looks great. And here too. Thank you for joining us today. Franklin and I had a lot of fun. He is now very stinky, so I'm going to not dress him in this onesie and get it all messy quite yet, but we will have lots of fun with it for Thanksgiving next week. Thank you for joining, and I hope to see you very soon. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support. Have a great day.